Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, I am Tanya. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist, and I work with people of influence to create businesses that they love and no longer need an escape from. And this is an episode of Biz Talk with Tanya. Now, if this is your first time, welcome to the channel, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this conversation. This conversation with Kayla was recorded a while ago, actually earlier this year, and I wanted to give you context as to why I'm bringing the conversation into the channel. Now, we were discussing the Great Resignation and the opportunities and how you could approach the Great Resignation and see the opportunities in the coaching industry and making money and creating a business. And the context I wanted to give you as you are listening or you are watching is to take this conversation and apply the same context when it comes to this recession that is happening right now in the world. Instead of looking at it like I shared in a previous video as all doom and gloom, I want you to look at it as a season of opportunities for you and for your life. So with that said, let's jump into the conversation, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you on the inside. So it is Biz Talk with Miss Tanya, and as you know, before we do anything, follow the page. If you are listening to it on the podcast, follow the podcast. What have you been waiting for? You know it's hot. We drop it like it's hot over here. And please take a notebook, a pen, and you are going to hear a whole ton of value. So Biz Talk is a show where we speak about business, entrepreneurship, coaching and consulting, how to grow a business. And on today's show, I have Kayla, the beautiful Kayla here, who's also a business coach. And if you don't follow her on any platform, I'll link her details below. I fell in love with her story, and especially a story how she found out about coaching. And we're going to tell you how. You are going to burst out laughing. But before anything else, let's allow Kayla to tell us about herself. So Kayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Could you maybe tell us, how did you get started on your entrepreneurship journey? This part is so good.
We're starting right there. Okay, let's dive into the deep end. I shared this story a few months ago, and it was something that I was like a little bit shy about, but I knew one day I was going to feel ready to like tell the story and fully own it and really give people a laugh as well. It was actually one of the stories that it got the highest engagement, and I did it in a series of posts on Instagram and a story on Facebook. I'm Australian and living in South Africa now, but I have been living in London for the last 7 years. So I was doing the like London lifestyle. I moved there when I was 24, and I was working in corporate. I was working for an engineering company in their communications department, and so I found out about the coaching industry in a really interesting way, and I decided to share that with everybody. So I actually found out about it through an ex-boyfriend, and so he and I dated for a little while. He was an investment banker, doing very well for himself. He took me to like the private clubs in London and that kind of thing. Anyway, but he was also a bit of a player, and he was definitely like my type at the time, which was like European footballer look. That's what my friend Hetty called it. I had a definite type, like dark hair, olive skin. He fit the bill perfectly for that. Anyway, it was nearing the end of our like 3 or 4 month relationship. It wasn't that long. And I was getting annoyed because I could feel this energy from him that like it wasn't exclusive. And I think he was probably feeling that from me at the same time. But anyway, so I did what any woman does before personal development, and I decided to stalk him on Instagram and find out who he was following, who he was liking on Instagram. And yeah, he liked a picture of a woman. At the time, actually, you could see what people were liking on Instagram. I don't think you can do that anymore, and you could see people's
not anymore.
What's that? Sorry.
You can't do it anymore. Back in the days, that was the days you could do that.
Yeah, exactly. You could kind of find a timeline that showed what people were liking. So anyway, yeah, he liked a picture of a girl in a bikini, and I was like, "Who's this chick?" Go onto her page, and she is a business coach, and yeah, I joined her membership, and yeah, like the guy is history, but obviously business coaching is my present, and being in the coaching industry is my present. So yeah, that's my very unusual way I found out about the coaching industry. It wasn't like an ad on television or a sponsored ad in my Facebook feed. It was stalking my ex-boyfriend.
The story, when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh. Because I remember, I think you posted it over a couple of days, and I read the first part. I'm like, okay, I can't wait for tomorrow. And then the next day, the minute that you posted, I went on the post. I'm like, let's hear what this girl is talking about. Because, it's the typical story of girl meets boy, boy is a bad boy. Anyway, it's something that we could all relate to. I think that's how you got the highest engagement with that story. Because it's something a lot of us could relate to. And to be honest, the part when you say that you discovered the business coach stories, I was like, I never expected that part of the story. I was like, wait, what? Wait, so the story is about a business coach? He was following a business coach. So yeah, I think it was definitely an interesting story. And this is something I love about you. You show up differently. I think when I started following you on social media, I think we connected over a post that you had made in another group, and
In a Facebook group.
I loved your
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved your vibe, and I was like, okay, let me follow her on social media. And I found that you show up in a different manner than a lot of people would expect a business coach to show up. A very authentic manner. So could you tell me, so how did you get to showing up in that manner? Because, often people say that a coach needs to look like this, a coach needs to come up like this, but you literally break all the rules. So what about that? Can you share about that?
Yeah. I think what's really important in showing up online is with depth and with connection. I think people are really craving connection. I think they really, if you are like, if we think about it practically, you want to sign up to work with someone one-to-one, and it's going to be, like a 6-month container. You're going to be on Zoom with them every week. Like, you want to be able to know that you're going to, at least like the person, get along with the person. And I think the more that we can, in our content, just share a little bit about us, it like lets people into just like some insight around, like, I don't know, the name of our dog, like what we like to wear, what we like to cook. But obviously, and then, other things as well, like what our worldview is, what our values are. I think if, it's tricky because when we're showing up online, it kind of feels like we're showing up to no one. It feels like a blank screen. We're just looking at ourselves. But the more that we can provide those connection points, I think is that's what I aim to do. So that's kind of the intention behind it. But also, I just show up and share me and what I'm like, and yeah, and definitely, like, I've done a lot of personal development in the last few years, and I feel also that the way I can show up is also in a boundaried way. So my dad is in Australia, and he's like 60 60-ish, 65-ish. And, he's not used to this like online world, and he does follow me on Instagram. And sometimes he's like, what are you, like, sharing a lot there. But I'm like, this is everything I share is from a confident space, an authentic space. I wouldn't share anything that I don't feel comfortable sharing. Like I've really found a place where I trust myself to navigate that and decide. And that story that I just shared is the perfect example. I've been in a relationship with my current partner for like 4.5 years. So this previous ex-boyfriend is like long ancient history. So I felt ready to tell that story and really have a laugh about it as well.
That's beautiful that you show up so authentically. Like I know, like I follow you on Instagram, and I know that you don't like working from home, and every time you try to find a new coffee shop to work from. So it's such. That's how I said I was your life. It's kind of like very interesting because I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I should start doing that instead of working from home every day. I should go to the coffee shop, and this is of course something that I know that is something that you have built your life around, being a coach and everything, and having the freedom to do what you want. Because I think there's a story that you shared where you said right about before you quit your job, you shipped all your corporate clothes back to Australia, packed a couple of clothes in a bag, and decided to travel.
Yes.
So
yes.
Since we want to talk about the whole great resignation that is happening all over the world since the pandemic has started, can we maybe walk back to Kayla a few years back before she was a business coach? What led her to deciding to quit a perfectly good corporate job that looked quite lucrative from what you said? What moved you from there to shipping your clothes, packing a bag, and you've been traveling around since?
Yeah, that's a big question. So I was working in communications for an engineering company. I worked on projects like Heathrow Airport, which is like the main airport in London, international airport. I worked on some major train stations. It was a very like all-encompassing, really intense job. And I even, sorry, my dog's in the background.
That's all right.
Geo, could you get her? Sorry. You probably can't hear her, but I can hear her. So anyway, so I was in corporate, working this. It was a really stressful job. It was very intense. I really enjoyed it, but it was also very, very, very intense. I had a period of burnout in 2018, just because I was working crazy hours and traveling a lot for work. And, like it was work life had become all encompassing, and I was just trying to fit some time for me around work, and led to burnout anyway. But why did I decide to leave? So in part it was because of that stress. I think one big thing that hit me was I didn't see myself in my manager's shoes, and that when that realization hit, that I didn't actually want their job, I didn't see myself working towards that, then I was like, what's the point? And being a very like driven person, I know all about, goal setting and visualizing what and thinking about the lifestyle you want. And kind of I looked at the lifestyle of the managers who were and the directors who were in my company. And I just, they were really setting the tone of like, really intense jobs and, not spending much time with their family, bad work-life balance, answering emails on weekends. And I was like, I do not want that. And also as a person, I'm like super, super independent, and I really love working for myself now. I love being able to decide, even like, am I going to bring out a program next week, and how much am I going to charge for it? And like deciding what your income is, that fits me so well, like, and my personality so well. And and some other things like, there had been the review process had been delayed because of COVID, and I'd been working from home for 8 months straight, and being like quite an extroverted person, hence why I work in coffee shops. And I love being like, I feel like I suck the energy of people around me and like channel it into my work or something like that. And I just need to be around people. And yeah, like the working from home had just like, oh, I think there was just one day I was like, nah, had enough, time to head to South Africa and ship all my stuff. So I think that answers your question. Sorry, it's a bit long-winded.
So, actually, it answers my question because I just realized that you are actually part of one of the people that was part of the Great Resignation that just started happening then,
Yeah.
because you were probably ahead of the time before they called it the Great Resignation. But it's interesting because with me, it was a few years back where I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. I can't wake up and have to deal with this drama. And I started imagining having to do this for the rest of my life, dealing with the drama, dealing with somebody breathing down my neck. And I was like, I can't do this. This is not for me. And I remember a lot of people at the time, entrepreneurship, when I quit, was frowned upon. People were like, so you quit a good career to do what? To try to make money for yourself. Can't you go and apply for a job as a manager somewhere else? I think that's what most people were saying. And today, obviously, things have changed. So one of the things, because we kind of figured out that, okay, you can change, you can choose to change your life and choose to create your own business. But was it an easy journey for you making that shift from corporate to starting your business? Because it looks like what I hear from the news, they're saying that people are quitting without a plan. So did you have a plan, and was it easy to execute it?
That's a really good question. Actually, I saw a coach online the other day. They were speaking to their stories on Instagram. They were saying people are being reckless. They are quitting their jobs and going all in. And I mean, the belief that I have around this is that people, like, the main thing is that I think that you don't quit and then go straight into it without, like you say, without a plan, without a strategy, without like some concrete things in place so that you know how to execute your strategy. And you got some, like, and then what I'm really speaking to here is like, your body kind of needs to feel safe. Your nervous system needs to feel safe in a place of somewhat safety, and that's different for everybody, I think. And by my nature, I've lived in 3 countries. I'm quite adventurous as a person. So I source a lot of my own like safety from myself and from my conviction and from that kind of thing. Like I didn't really see my corporate job as stable because there were redundancies when I was there. I didn't really see it as the stable thing that some people see it as. So I think I just want to speak to that. Like, I think when you leave your corporate job and go into entrepreneurship, it looks different for everybody, and the relative like safety that you need and structure that you need is different. I think some people, like they work up to 10, 20, whatever, 30K months while they're still in corporate. And then they hop over when they feel like they're like, this is a sure thing. And then whereas, I didn't really work to that level. Like, and I think also my energy levels, like my corporate job was just so all encompassing. Like I was getting, like an hour in the mornings, an hour in the evenings at max, and then working all weekend. And I was still like exhausted. And I only did that for a little while before I was like, no, I need to make a plan. So what I actually ended up doing was I quit my corporate job and went contracting for them. And I worked 3 days a week as a contractor, and then managed to make some more time for my business. And that made a huge difference because, what I could accomplish in a week just like doubled, and I was able to gather some more momentum in my business.
That's interesting, and that's good. I just realized that you indeed had a plan, and you did not just wake up and say like, "Oh, I'm gonna decide, I'm gonna quit my 9 to 5 and then jump into coaching, and everything is gonna be alright." So you actually
Yeah.
had a plan, and I like that you actually speaking to it because okay, we all know the coaching industry can be a little bit superfluous. Like you can
Oh
quite be
yeah.
so superficial and saying that, oh, I quit my job and I made $10,000 in 10 days or the week after I quit my job. And this is, I think, it's also misleading to other people that are trying to be coaches.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
misleading information around that. So I kind of wanted to speak to
Totally.
how, because I feel like the Great Resignation correlates a lot with the growth of the coaching industry and I mean, on a monthly basis, I think there's a lot of aspiring coaches, of new coaches coming into the industry, and I feel like the great it is a positive relationship between these two trends. It feels like a lot of people that are resigning are coming into the coaching sector. And so I kind of wanted to speak about what are the opportunities that are there now for coaches? Like, what do you think? What are the opportunities that are there for coaching and aspiring coaches? But also, where should people be cautious when it comes to the online coaching space?
Why should people be coaches? I just want to double check the question.
No, why should they be cautious? Like cautious, why should they be careful about the whole online coaching space? Because I feel like the industry is booming right now. The industry is really booming with the
Yeah.
great resignation happening. And what do you think? What are the opportunities that are in place right now for coaches in the industry, as well as aspiring coaches, but as well, where should people trade carefully?
Oh, good question. So where are the opportunities and where to tread carefully? Is that
Yeah.
cool? Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that the coaching industry is about to like it is booming. We're at the start of it. Everyone I speak to, we're all pretty much in agreement with that. And so like the start of the curve. Um, yeah, I think it's definitely still like, you know, there's still like taboo around entrepreneurship, I think, and coaching, but I think that's changing. And I think more people are getting interested, and I think people are starting to follow coaches. Um, yeah, you know, and there's a big difference between like, you know, influencer and coach as well. Like we're talking service providers, coach. You know, we're not, you know, you know, the influencers, I see them more as like, you know, over 100,000 followers, over 50,000 followers on Instagram. You know, they sell maybe like products or presets or like things of a lower value, whereas we're talking here about about high investment kind of high ticket prices most of the time. Sorry, my dog. So
Okay.
where are the opportunities? So yeah, I think even though we're at the start of it, I think there is, you know, it's still like I see the coaching industry as a bit of like a triangle. You know, you got this like 1% up here that are doing insanely well. And like I think we could probably reel off a few names that we know who are at that level. And then at the bottom of the triangle, I think we've got, you know, people joining here. And the thing about it is, I think we're getting more people at that bottom of the triangle. Therefore, it's getting more competitive to advance in the coaching industry. Yeah, and I think it's two pronged. Like, you know, there's opportunities in terms of marketing, like to really differentiate yourself, and you know, like, you know, showing up consistently is so important. But are you showing up with potency as well? A lot of people say like provide value, but what does, you know, I think the meaning of that has changed in the last few years. I talk about this a lot on my Instagram. You know, it used to be like 5 steps too, but people can just Google that now. So like I think people want to be spoken to in a way, with really clever marketing. I'm reading a book about neuromarketing at the moment, and it is blowing my mind. Just how, you can speak to people's subconscious, speak to their desires, speak to them in a way that they're like, I don't even know why I'm being magnetized and drawn into this, but I am. And, all of that knowledge exists, and it can be tapped into, but obviously, like, with in an ethical way. We're not looking to, trick anyone to working in with us, but like, if there's things that we can do in our marketing that just make it easier, more predictable for us. So when we put out a post, when we put out a story, that we have more certainty that that's actually going to capture people's attention, not capture people, then I think that like there's an opportunity there. And I guess the other opportunity, I think, is also just, word of mouth is still really incredible. There's a book called Contagious, but it's not about viruses, thank God. It's about marketing, and it was talking about this like a secret bar in New York where people didn't know the name of it. They didn't and it wasn't on Google. There was no website. It was just purely through word of mouth. People were finding out about this incredible like bar with like and it was, the entrance was like through a I think like a telephone booth or something like that, and you had to dial a specific number on the telephone booth to get in, and this place was full and booked out because purely based on word of mouth. And like word of mouth is definitely not dead. Like I think that like in the DMs, people are talking about other coaches all the time. They're talking about what they're investing in. They're, I think it's something to be mindful of about how we can, share, like, do our role to the best that we can, like coach that person, but also like, what can we add that to our coaching that really like differentiates us and makes us so unique. Yeah. So those are two opportunities I see.
Definitely, I love that you share that, because I know that like in your content, I consume a lot of your content. You're actually one of the few people that I follow that actually also consume the content. You're always speaking about differentiating, magnetizing, being authentic, attracting. Because I know that you are quite big on attraction marketing than anything that is cold, kind of traffic.
But not to say I still love connection though. Like connection in the DMs is incredible. Like when we don't want to go too organic and too attraction marketing focused, that we're just sitting there and like waiting for the DMs or never going into our DMs,
No, that's so true, because I know originally we connected via the DMs. I saw your content. We connected via the DM, started chatting, and then I followed you on Instagram. And today we are here. So definitely connecting via the DMs is something that is good to do, because if you never do that, then you might not connect with peers or with clients, because it is an important way of connecting. Coaching is essentially about building connections. So essentially, you want to connect to your people. So I kind of wanted to dive into now what you do, because I know you just recently launched a program. Could you tell us a little bit more about your program?
Yeah. So I've got a new one-to-one container that is 1 month long, 30 days. I wanted something that would like, the intention behind it was something that would just transform someone's business. Like they would at the root, at the foundation, so that their marketing, their empowered selling, their the container itself that they create, the like whatever offer they put together, that it's all just like super solid foundations in their business, so that they can go and just show up to their strat and have a really like aligned strategy that they can just show up to every day. So yeah, that one-to-one container is called the Wayfarer, and 30 days to just reimagine your business and explore the possibilities, basically. Like yeah, that's the kind of premise behind the Wayfarer. And then at the moment, I'm creating a self-guided course as well, that will be at a lower investment price, because I want people to be able to feel really confident when it comes to showing up online. Like, people talk about consistency and how important it is. It is so important, but the fuel that fuels your consistency doesn't have to be like, oh, like I have to do this today. It can be like, once you find a really good relationship, once you have so much confidence with like what you're talking about, that the ideas are just flowing. Like, I know to some people, and if I was hearing myself speak right now, like a year, 2 years ago, it would have been like, eh. But that is really possible to be in that state where you feel really confident, authentic, and magnetic in your content, and that's just your go-to. So that you're not feeling like you're always like having to create content and it's a real grind to show up. Yeah.
I like that. I like that you're actually creating these different offers, and definitely if you're looking for somebody to help you with attraction marketing and building authenticity, you want to reach out to Kayla and yeah, see how you can work with her, because she's very, very authentic, very open, very warm, and you also kind of garner that from her content. So definitely she's somebody that can teach you to show up as you would like to show up and actually propel the energy that you want people to see. So Kayla, could you maybe tell the viewers and the listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tanya. Such beautiful compliments. Thank you. So I am on Instagram at Kayla Benson. So Caela if you're listening. Benson, Benson. And I'm listed as like a magnetism and business coach. And then I think it's the same on Facebook. I've also joined TikTok and Pinterest recently. So follow me on there, because I've got no friends or followers. So
I don't know. TikTok has felt quite overwhelming for me. A lot of people are telling me, come to TikTok, come to TikTok. I might do that this year, but I'm like,
let's friend each
just
other.
Overwhelming.
We can navigate the world of TikTok. I'm turning 32 tomorrow, and I'm just like, I don't know how to
oh
deal
my
with
gosh!
TikTok.
Happy birthday in advance! Happy
Thank
birthday in
you.
advance!
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Kayla, for speaking to us, for teaching us today, and yeah, and to anybody listening, I hope you got so much value from this. If I could sum up everything, is that if you want to quit your job or you're thinking of quitting your job, you probably have that conviction within yourself. There are a lot of opportunities that are opening up in the coaching industry as we are at the start of the boom and things are about to get really, really bumpy along the way, but it's a great wave. You can get in, but there's a lot of competition to get to the top. And you are going to want to learn how to magnetize the people that you need to your brand and attract the clients that you want. Is that essentially, did I say it correctly, Kayla?
Spot on. Absolutely. I think with investing in a coach, just like shop around, ask questions. There's a big message in the coaching industry, like, if a client's asking too many questions, they're not like high ticket enough or something like that. But I like, when I go to invest with a coach, I'm like, no, I've got questions. Like, and it doesn't mean anything. Like, so,
I definitely ask questions. I definitely ask questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to make sure that it's aligned. You want to make sure.
Exactly. Exactly. So
yeah,
I'm so glad we could speak. Thank you again for stopping by. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you to the viewers, everybody that got to stop by. And if you are watching the replay, let me know what you think of this in the comment section. And reach out to Kayla. I'll link down details. Go and follow her. This girl be living her best life. I'm telling you. Sometimes I'll see she pops a reel and I'm like, girl, you're busy living your best life while building a business. And if you want somebody to inspire you, definitely check out her page. And with that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Thank you.